If you want to understand an engine, think like an engine, put yourself in its place. This episode is about curiosity. It's always a surprise what gifts the previous owner has left here for you. And you are digging deeper and deeper into these intricate piles of problems. It's kind of fascinating. In our case, it's impossible to find a genuine previous owner because the man who sold it didn't drive it. He wanted, but in vain. This car has changed so many hands, and this adds more interest for us. I think it's impossible to find the worst car in the worst condition for restoration. Engine condition? It's toast. I had a thought to try to run it, but it wouldn't have worked, so we decided to start disassembling it as quickly as possible. Almost every part here has so much play. Yeah, it's going. Pull it, pull. Wow, there are pistons and rings. What a surprise. Hey, something is dripping there. It's okay, it's the oil we put into the chambers. Well, the cylinders are... they are okay. It's possible to bore them a little. Look, the piston rings are seized up with carbon deposits. It wouldn't have run. But it doesn't seem like the pistons were overheated. I was sure they would be fried. The second head is coming, but the cylinders are staying in place. It's a good sign. Let me help with the push rods. Hey, it's stuck. It seems like we don't have enough space to remove it. And there is our oil in the cylinders. Okay, it's finally removed. Those master cylinders were in the way, but we managed. Hey, look at that. The pistons are cleaner here. I'm wondering why. The right bank was much more carbonized. Wow, do you know what it is? This is carbon deposit, and it was washed from the pistons by oil. I didn't know that simple oil can dissolve carbon deposits in a few days. Can you imagine we had tried to start the engine in this condition? It would have been a gross abuse of this poor little fellow. Okay, let's look at this guy closer. You know, it's a regular worn-out cylinder, nothing special here, nothing catastrophic here as well. It's getting dark, but it's clear that this engine isn't toast, but worn out to an undrivable condition. It's interesting how many kilometers this engine did. You know, since I was 13, every vehicle I had was sold in a much better condition than it was bought. I'm always rebuilding, improving and fixing everything around me. It's impossible for me to just buy a car and drive it. It's scary. How can I use a car without checking braking and fuel systems? It's impossible not to change every noisy bearing. The Bellhausen is quite clean. It seems like somebody was here recently. Yeah, there are some traces of cleaning. It's definitely the cleanest place in this car so far. However, it's likely that the release bearing is over. Okay, I was thinking the disassembly was in vain, but listen to this. This is officially the largest crankshaft play I have ever seen. It knocks so loudly, we can't imagine how it was working in its last days. But it is able to spin. It's not got stuck considering these huge gaps in the bearings. That's incredible. Let's put it on the surgery table. The centrifugal filter is opened and it's relatively clean. There could be much more contamination. Somebody tried to breathe a new life into this engine. Half of the bolts on the oil pan are M6, another half are M8. The temperature sensor wasn't tightened, so all oil leaked through it during our towing adventure. The flywheel was finger tightened. The clutch disc is 50-50, the pressure plate has some unknown grinding masks. The nature of this phenomenon stays unknown for me, but we have to think positively. Let's say this engine has no flaws, only advantages. This is the worst wrecked car I have ever seen. Everything you see here is destroyed by time or by a man. But you should get us right. This is precisely what we wanted for a project, no complaints. Oh, and you haven't seen this massive rust on this car. It would be a hard task even for a skilled auto body technician. I'm curious what should happen to rip off the thread here. This car was maintained by a Hulk? Oh my god, threads on this block are experiencing some kind of violence. But look at this. This is a stud. It was covered with gasket maker and a wire was wound over. Thanks God they didn't hammer a big roof nail here. Well, at least we are having fun while disassembling the engine. We unbolted the oil pan, and what can I say? It's too boring here. A little amount of metal shaving here, a layer of carbon deposits, no broken piston rod here. It's boring. The crankshaft chamber is okay, nothing criminal here. Well, everything we are going to do with this engine is temporary. Firstly, we don't have a strict plan for this car. So it would be an interesting search for the final specs and shapes of this car. Secondly, we need to gain some skills to do everything right. Unfortunately, we are a little budget tight, so we need to be a bit canny for this build. As they say, there are two happiest moments in a man's life: when he buys a car and when he sells a car. I hope we will stay in the first state as long as possible. Okay, let's continue the disassembly. This crankshaft pulley comes off easily, nothing special here. This front cover should reveal time and gears. Wow, look at this bearing. It's not the most important bearing in this car, but its condition is terrible. Every single centimeter here is covered with a thick layer of varnished carbon deposits. Of course, I understand that people use this car not for saving them in the best condition, but for hard work until the last spark. The most critical moment, camshaft play. I still hope we are lucky, because it's impossible to rebore the journals here. Okay, I can't understand its condition from this point, but I clearly see that this camshaft gear plays here. I need to pull off as many gears as I can to see what is going on here. Oh my god, it seems like it has no excessive play. Actually, it has, but not that big. No way. If this is true, then it's good news. Then we will have a nice oil pressure. But it will be clear after the complete disassembly. I'm quite skeptical seeing this amount of issues here. Well, now we should make a quick overhaul, grind the crankshaft to undersize, new main and rod bearings and 79 pistons, and we are ready to go, because we need to understand what car it is. I know many men who don't have any mechanical skills, they have no fancy tools, they don't even understand how an engine works, but they try to keep their vehicles in good condition. It's just unforgivable to treat a car like that. It doesn't require a lot of money, just keep it clean, do routine maintenance, and that's it. Anyway, I think this car was used at a beekeeping farm, or at least it was transporting sugar. I can prove it. There is a wasp in the engine additionally to the wasp nests in the interior. How did it get there? Poor little fellow, how on earth did it end up in there? That feeling when you are disassembling the first rod bearing and expecting there is everything okay. Well, that could be worse. Yes, there is a scoring mark, just one scoring mark, and it looks like it's totally savable. And the most interesting thing is the size of the bearings. I hope we have some meat to grind. Oh my god, would you look at that? Frankly, I didn't expect this. I thought this technology was lost, but no, it's here in my hands. This chocolate foil beneath the rod bearing added some kilometers to this engine. On the other hand, maybe 20 years ago there was no opportunity to fix this engine properly, and they did what they could. I think I have no right to judge. But the best news is the crankshaft in its original size, never ground. That's awesome. It's not the easiest part of disassembly to lure out the crankshaft from the block. Firstly, you need to heat it a little and then pull it with whatever is at hand. This principle is similar to the Chrysler 2.8 CRD engine, if somebody has seen it. That's it, all three crankshaft supports have been removed. Well, as I said earlier, it's in a decent state. I'm sure it will live a long life. It seems like it's possible to throw new main bearings here, and that's it. But we will make the repair properly. Would you like to see what happens when you fill the engine with a used sunflower oil from the deep fryer, or you just don't change oil at least every 10,000 kilometers? Look, this is a crankshaft ventilation chamber. You can just imagine how bad this engine was feeling during its operation. Maybe we are exaggerating too much, but we are sure it's possible to avoid this condition of the engine. This substance was found almost everywhere in the engine. Please change the engine oil at least every 7 to 10,000 kilometers. It will prolong the life of your engine drastically. We even found deposits between the gear teeth. Well, as you can see, there is a lot of cleaning to be done, so the next episode will be about a complete overhaul of this engine, so enough words, let's go spending money and work.